Hello and welcome to my breakdown for the house facade project that I've created. This is in place of my production log, and it's just going to go through some of the elements that I've used to create this sort of look, and some of the modifiers that I've used. I'm going to highlight some. Excellent. So this is one of the renders that I've created, and this is the project. As you can see here, I have actually grouped this house and this house together so that they are all together. However, I'm just going to turn them off for the time being. Just so we can focus on this one which isn't grouped, and we can have a little look at certain bits of it. So I first started off using the front view. I made a simple plane, same size as my reference image, and let me just highlight it. And I used the Swift Loop tool up here and created holes that were the same size as the windows and door frames. This was I then deleted these so that we can see through the windows. I also then added a shell modifier to this this plane, just so it added me some 3D depth. As you can see, the windows and doors in this house aren't actually on the plane. They're pushed back inside, so I needed some sort of shell modifier. So I needed some depth so that I could have the windows and the doors inset from the front plane. So that's pretty much what I started off with. I then started, modifying the roof, changing the vertices up here to sort of bring that back and have that sort of curve. Excellent. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is what sort of primitives I used. Let me just switch back to these. Some of the primitives are, I used the door one for the door down here, and a lot of the standard primitives for the boxes, and also some of the window ones. Cool thing about the door is that I've actually stacked, we'll go on to my modifiers, I've stacked an edit poly on top of the pivot door, so I can actually still go in and change the percentage of the door and it will still open and stay in the geometry. So I can actually change if the door is open or not without affecting, the edit poly on top. Another thing I did use quite a lot was the clone tool. I'll talk about it in this little square here, a bit of decor. Let me just click off that. Let me find it quickly. Here we go. Yeah, I used the clone tool just so I could add the same element throughout the scene. This clone tool was really helpful actually, and this is just a simple box copied and pasted over again, which I think adds quite a lot to the scene. Excellent. So the next one I'll talk to you about is these windows. Cool thing about these windows for the modifier list is that I use symmetry. So if we turn these off, you can see how I've made one side and just copied it over here, and I've also used another symmetry so I can use it for the other window. Yes, let me move on. These struts were quite cool. Same thing, I used the clone tool. I did actually use some of the splines, however they didn't really look like I wanted them to look. Tried to use a lathe and make them nice and round and circular and stuff, but they didn't really look how I wanted them to, so I ended up making these sort of more blocky struts and just copied and pasted with the clone tool them along this balcony. However, these struts here is what I have used. I used a spline, and I have a little example of that just over here. This is how I created something similar to the struts that I repeated here, here, and here, and here. And as you can see, we have a simple line, and what I've just done is I've added a lathe on top of that, and this is where we can start to move the axis around to create new geometry, or an hourglass maybe. I flip the normals. Yeah, nice hourglass. So yeah, that's sort of how I created the struts, as it were, and then just dupe them along these sort of balcony edges. One of the things I definitely went for in this project was detail. So a lot of the time, all of the edges are chamfered, and when they are extruded, they never have like a hard edge, or a lot of them have smoother edges, and if there is a cut edge, it's for a reason, to sort of bring out detail. Let me grab a little notes. Excellent. So one of the also things that I want to talk about is this box up here. This is quite an interesting one actually. These I used a simple box and then deleted the vertices at the bottom. This did leave like an open box, so there'll be black polygons because it's the other side inside, and sometimes you'll catch them through the windows. So I ended up adding a shell modifier to this. See here, they're black, which is I kept sort of seeing them through the windows. Of course, this is when the windows are opaque. So adding that shell modifier, just adding a tiny amount on the inner amount, let it have it sort of a second polygon on the other side of it and not overlapping. So it added sort of, so I didn't see any of those black frames. And the sort of this bit here, if I solo this, you can see how I've chamfered the sides and then just extruded these up a little bit. And of course the symmetry's there to create two of them. I could have done symmetry down the middle of these, however, as I was creating it, it just seemed easier to work in one, as it were. Excellent. Anything else I need to tell you? Possibly the stairs. I didn't like any of the stair primitives that they gave you. I thought they were quite they weren't very flexible. So I created my own stairs just by using the if I go onto here, I'll select one, the insert tool to click show insert, and then I would extrude up to create a new one, and then I'll bevel those edges so they had a nice ellipsis, or not ellipse, like a lip on the top of the stairs. Yeah, final thing to say is this little bollard out here, again using the symmetry tools. Let me just click off, there we go. Using the extrude tools and the symmetry tools to create this these nice bollards, and then just copy in or drag them by dragging. Yeah, so you can see how I've like created half and then made the symmetry for that. Excellent. So that is my breakdown for a lot of the modifiers that I used in this project. The main ones to say were the shell ones. A lot of the time it was quite nice to duplicate a lot of the material, so the window frames that I created, they'll be duplicated along, and I just changed sort of some of the vertices to make them fit the windows. And yeah, the main sort of elements were taking a simple box and extruding, chamfering, and doing anything I can do to using these tools a lot. The bevel to create the nice edges on the top of things. Looking through some of the art that I used for inspiration, none of them really had hard edges at all. They all had sort of soft sloping edges. So I tried to copy that throughout my work, and every single edge was never too hard. And I did have this sort of chamfered top to the bottom to them. But anyway, and the last thing to say is the this sun. Where is it? Here it is. So this is just the daylight. I think it's called, if you press 8 it comes up with your environment and effects, that's the one. And this is how Ken helped me today, just giving a simple sort of lighting effects, not only to the whole scene, but so you can have an actual daylight, and of course you can modify this. If I go into my modify settings, I can change the time of the day, how high I want the sun, and this is the sunbeam, and it also has an overall luminance, so you can still sort of see into the shadows. It's not completely black. And I finally added the camera just so we can get a nice shot. And if we quickly go into the camera view, and we can see our final composition. Excellent. So that was the breakdown for my house facade project. If you have any questions, please ask. And excellent. Thanks for watching.